Well, hey, what is up, Life Group TV? This week is part 2 of The Least, the Last, and the Lost. And today, we had a message titled, The Miracle You Need the Most. And we looked at the story in Mark 2 about the paralyzed man. And what we did was we read through the story and we identified 5 different groups of people. And the question that I posed to our church today was, who are we? Because if we want to change lives for Christ, one life at a time, we have to be aligned on that question before we do anything. So we looked at these 5 different groups. The first group was someone in need. There's always someone in need, especially in the life of church. And we've seen this in the paralyzed man. That was the first group of people. The second group of people was someone who cares. In every church, you're always going to see someone who cares. And I'm talking about a care that's genuine, a care that says, you know what, I'm going to give up my seat for you. People who genuinely care and they want their friends to find Jesus. Now, the third group that we see in this story in Mark 2 is the group that I think sometimes we all can be, if we're really honest. It's the preoccupied. In every church, you see someone who's preoccupied. You know, we've just forgot that the main thing is the main thing. We're just more focused and more concerned about ourselves rather than thinking, who needs a little love today? Who needs a little help? And inadvertently, what we tend to do as a preoccupied people is we have all of our Christian language, we do all these Christian things, but inadvertently, without meaning to, we have our back turned to the one that's in need. And it's really sad. So my ask of us today was to realize that if you are preoccupied, what does that even look like? Well, if you haven't brought someone to church in the last year, your chances are you're probably preoccupied. It doesn't make you a bad person. Let's just call it what it is. And then the fourth group of people that we see in the story in Mark 2 are the critics. These are the religious teachers or the Pharisees. And we see them in the story, and they're challenging Jesus. And then Jesus in the story, in the text, when you read it, what we see is he even knew what they were thinking. And he challenged them, and he said to them, hey, I can do all things. He said that he has full strength to do anything. And in the story, we see that he forgives the guy's sins, but then he actually goes on to say, hey, take up your mat. The guy's healed by the power of the Spirit. He gets up and he walks out of there. The critics silenced by Jesus. And then the fifth group that we see in every single church is someone who can be changed. By the grace of God, I know that every single one of us can be changed. Those people in need, the critics, the preoccupied, we can be changed by the grace of Jesus. And then the final question that I posed to people was, hey, who's not here? Who do we not see in the story? And the people that we don't see are the people who aren't there. So my request of us as a church is to reflect on those 5 groups of people. Ask yourself, which one do I fit into? Because we want to be a church that care. We want to be a church that's not preoccupied, that's not critical. We want to help the one in need, because that one in need needs to find Jesus, and Jesus is the miracle that they need the most. And we can be a help or we can be a hindrance. The choice is yours. So hey, I hope you have fun at Life Group discussing what it means. And hey, we'll see you next week back at church at the 10 or the 12.